Nita mentions in a lama de dang hachang drawa nita mayin basa kiraba.
Lama dang nita mayin.
Nita mayin.
Lama sawo.
Oh, laso.
Lama najir.
Laso. So,
tanda patane daune. Laso. Lejo kono sasa zogore.
Laso.
Te zodogo sana nita member mati.
Laso.
Machuba.
Laso.
Sanzandayana. Napa bagar patana. Pog down and ora.
Oh, laso.
Tema yi.
Yeah. So then, saying that, including that mantra, you place the life tree within the image. Now, this is in general. In detail, there are specific texts on how to fill, as we say, specific types of images that can be learned from those texts. But especially the instruction in our tradition is to include in the image at best 100, at very least 7 of the mantra of your principal yidam. At best written in gold, if not in silver, if not in vermilion or red. And this will have a great blessing. For the names of the gurus, in our tradition, we use the ultimate lineage of unity from Vajradhara, the golden garland, from Vajradhara on down through the ultimate lineage. And you can put all of them, all of their name mantras in. Don't put in the name mantras of teachers who may not have achieved the bodhisattva levels, who may not be Aryas, even if you have a great deal of faith in them, because if their names won't produce blessing, and if people circumambulate the stupa or the image or venerate it, it could hurt that teacher. So, especially in the case of a smaller statue where you can't fit all the names of the lineage, and also to include teachers whose names you don't want to put in personally, you can use the mantra Om A Sarva Guru Hum Soha, which Sarva Guru means all gurus, all lamas, so that is all inclusive. In the case of when you have relics, remains of the body of a deceased guru who was definitely an Arya, such as a member of the victorious father and sons and so forth, then you can use those definitely in any image. And we refer to the remains of their body as relics, kaya relics, body relics, and then we refer to other remains such as their hair, their nails, their robes, and so on, as it's as relics of kaya wool. So the point is that if you're placing these in a statue, whether they're self-appeared or not, they should be put in the corresponding part of the statue. So if it's hair in the top of the head, if it's nails wherever the arms are, and so on, if it's upper clothing, upper robes in the upper body, if it's part of the brocade or other material from the teacher's seat, then it should be put there. If the teacher you wish to commemorate did not achieve, or you can't be certain they achieved the bodhisattva levels, then they should not, their relics should not be placed in an object of general circumambulation. In the case of when a teacher has passed away and miraculous relics have appeared, such as when their heart, tongue, sometimes eyes, or miraculous shariram, with images of deities, syllables of mantra, and so on, have appeared, then those can be wrapped in silk and placed in the appropriate places within the stupa or image. Otherwise, all of their relics, the remains from, for example, the cremation fire, should be mixed with other blessing supports and ground. And this is done, Rinpoche said, using the Akshobhya ritual customarily. And it should be done, the grinding of these should be done by those who are good practitioners, not wrongdoers, but not physically related to the teacher. So they shouldn't be the teacher's nephew or child or anything like that. Otherwise you incur what the fault that Rinpoche said in colloquial Tibetan we call, and it's kind of disrespect to your parents, it's this grinder of your father's bones. You don't want to be a grinder of your father's bones. Then they are mixed with water and made into tsatsas that can also be placed after they're dried into the image. Now, if you are filling a statue that is smaller, like a span or less in size, then you don't need the sense organ syllables, mantras, or the other various dharanis. What you need are the vowels and consonants, the essence of interdependence, and the mantras of that particular deity are sufficient. And then if the image is too small, then there won't be room for a life tree or various other blessing substances. And especially when filling any image, a small image, all of the loose material, such as the pills, like the shariram from a teacher, or other loose bits and pieces of blessing substance, should be tightly wrapped up in silk or paper, and the scroll, the wrapping should be really tightened up as much as you can, and the contents of the statue, in short, the statue should be so full that if you shake the statue, not that you want to go around shaking statues, but that if you shake the statue, nothing rattles around. Because if it's loose and there's any rattling around inside the statue, that is said to cause internal agitation. And you don't want that. So that is about the body of the statue. Now the lotus seat of the statue. In most cases, there are two. There's an upper one and a lower one, or upward-facing lotus petals and downward-facing lotus petals. In that case, you fill the upper one with the mantras of wisdom dharmapalas, and below that you put the mantras of mundane dharmapalas, such as the four great kings and so forth. And then below that, you put what's called the yaksha yantra, or yaksha chakra, which is the mantras of the 9 jambalas, the fathers, and below that, the mantra of the 9 mothers, their consorts, the 9 female, the 9 yakshis. And these should be put so that each matches up with their corresponding partner. And the dangdam buram maka sepai jaya derebe. The nijin kolo de jaya de janse dan buram maka sepai de jaya de tomya jaya de. Jaya. Okay. And you stick the male and female yantras or chakras together with honey, treacle, and white butter. Then you wrap them with yellow silk or cotton and form a square with the yellow thread, and make sure that you know which part is the top. So make a kind of a marking of some kind on the top, and so you don't turn it upside down. And make sure that the eastern side of the yantra or wheel is facing the front of the image. Below that, and to its right and left, wherever there's room, inside yellow bags or packages of silk or cotton, fill the image with various grains, herbal medicines, and jewels, gold, silver, and so on. And especially beneath the wheel of the yakshas, you want to, in a large statue, put weapons such as knives and swords and arrows and bows and things like that, because this creates the interdependence for the ending of violence and the ending of warfare. Now, if the statue is very, very small, then you seal the bottom below the lotus, and then you draw a double vajra on it. The text says with arsenic sulfate, which was the only yellow pigment that they had. Here you could use a yellow paint. In the case of a large image or a large stupa and so on, then beneath the lotus there will be a lion throne, so it's placed in that. When a guru who was certainly an Arya Bodhisattva or Buddha has been cremated, while their actual remains, so the fragments of bone and or the miraculous deity forms and so on, are placed as was described, there is also the ashes and the burnt the burnt fuel from the cremation fire, and those are also to be made into tsatsas in the case of a teacher who was an Arya Bodhisattva. And even if they're not made into tsatsas, they are to be placed in the lion throne of the stupa or statue. Now, ideally, you want to perform 2 ablution ceremonies. When the dharanis have all been rolled, and then they are consecrated and an ablution, in the context of which an ablution ceremony is performed. But even if that can't be done, it's okay if there's only a consecration and ablution an ablution when in the final consecration of the image. But ideally, you want to do both.
Oh, yeah.
So we're out of time this morning, so we'll stop here, and then Rinpoche will complete the teaching this afternoon at 2:30, and we'll take questions with whatever time remains.